Hey, Kevin here from DIYDork.com. Today I'm going to show you a really awesome table I'm building out of some old reclaimed 2x2's that I picked up a while back. Now what's really awesome about this project is that not only does it look great, but it's actually really easy to build. So check this out. Alright, so check it out. This is all the materials I'm going to use to build my really simple table. I'm going to do another little simple tabletop, this time using 2x2's. I've done other tables or benches with 2x3's and 2x6's, 2x8's, 1x4's. This time I'm going with the simple little 2x2. I think it'll be a pretty cool little idea. Alright, so first of all, the table here, the reason I have it out here is because I'm going to use the legs off of it. I picked up several of these online a while back. They're really cheap. It was cheaper to buy these full tables with hairpin legs than to buy hairpin legs separately. The problem is that they were powder coated hot pink, so what I did is I sprayed them this copper color. It's pretty hot right now, and I thought I'd go ahead and see on this particular table if I could flip it on Craigslist as is. So basically just paint the legs, assemble it, and try to sell it for, you know, about double what I paid for it, and of course it didn't work. I got absolutely no bites whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is just take those legs off and build a brand new top out of it using these 2x2's. Alright, so a while back, a couple weeks ago, it was a bulk pickup or bulk trash pickup day in town, and I think I've showed a picture, but I'll show it again. I mean, I got a ton of stuff, a whole bunch of wood, and there was a huge pile of these old 2x2's. I think they might have been an old spindles from a railing or something. But anyway, they just have a really cool color to them. I mean, check that out. There's some browns and grays, and there's some stains, and that's going to look really cool. So what I'm going to do is just a really simple glue up method. So basically the tabletop will mostly look like this, just a bunch of 2x2's that'll be glued together. So what I need to do is go through and decide what side I want to face up. So like these, I like how they look, that variation in color. So what I'll do is take this side and that side, and I'll just quickly sand them just so that the glue will adhere a little better when I put them all together, and then I'll have to clamp and let them dry. And I'll show you a little homemade clamp I'll build because I don't have any big enough. And the other thing I'm going to do on the end, I could just keep it simple like that, but these are only like 28 inches long or something like that. It'd be a pretty short table, so I'm actually going to put some ends on it like this. Now when you have your your long boards this way and then a short board on the end, they call it a breadboard style. It's pretty hot right now. There's a lot of tutorials out there, and a lot of them build it the wrong way, and I'll be honest right here and put the disclaimer up front, I'm going to build it the wrong way as well. Basically what happens is we're going to glue all these up, we're going to glue some end caps up, and then we're going to attach them. And the problem is that these boards are going to want to bow one way, and this is going to want to bow the other way once it's all glued up. So it could kind of contort and twist and all that as the seasons change. So I'll just warn you right now, if you try to do this with really big boards on a really nice tabletop, it could twist and warp on you. But for something really simple like this, I'll just go ahead and try it out just to see how it looks, especially with just little simple hairpin legs. I think it will be okay. Alright, so the very first thing I want to do is go through all these boards, lay them out, decide what side I want to face up, and then like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to sand the two sides here so that I can glue them together a little better. Alright, so now I have all of the two sides on all the boards sanded. I use a 60 grit. I don't think I explained that earlier. That way I could tear through this old finish really quickly and then leave enough tooth for the glue to stick. So then I went through with an old rag, just wiped them down, get rid of all that dust so that the glue will actually stick. And now it's time to just simply add glue in between them all, squeeze them together, clamp them till they dry, and then go from there. The problem is that my clamps are not very big. I was thinking I had longer ones than this, but I don't. So what I can do is just do it in groups of 4, which mine actually works out evenly. I have a group of 4 here, another group of 4 on that end, and then 3 groups of 4 here in the middle. Alright, so I'll go ahead and just do it that way for now, and then once these are all solid, so I have kind of bigger boards, then I can glue all of them together here in the middle. And I'll have to kind of rig up a little clamp. I'll show you how to make a couple of boards, and I'll use these to actually tighten that clamp. And then once it's all set, then I'll show you how to attach the breadboard end cap pieces, or whatever you want to call them, to the bigger piece here. So I'll go ahead and start gluing and clamping. Alright, so I'm wiping all the excess glue off, and you saw that I just butted them up against that board there so they're all nice and straight. But the one issue I just now realized is I only have these 2 clamps, and this glue will take at least several hours, if not even overnight, to dry. And I didn't think about that, so I probably should go ahead and just build my my big clamp that will go all the way across all these, so I can just glue this whole middle section together, and then I'll just have to figure out what I'm going to do on the ends to attach them. And it should be pretty easy. The best solution really is just to get bigger clamps, but I don't have any right now, but I do have a bunch of extra wood. Actually, I have some right here that I could use. Another thing you could do, on my 2x3 bench video a while back, I glued up boards, but I also added some screws, and that helped hold them together while it was drying and add a little extra strength. You could even do that as well if you wanted, but I'm gonna go ahead and build the extra large sort of a rigged up clamp and get this thing going. Alright, so here's the old rickety clamp that I built. It's like a, I don't know, a 4-foot board or something like that, some 2x2's I just found in the basement. You can see how they're attached. They're both built like this. Also, the one I'm holding is just slightly narrower than the other one, so they can slide together. So let me just slide together real quick, and I'll show you how it works. Alright, so once I slide them together, it looks something like that. I know it probably looks a little complicated, but it's simple. These 2 inners are attached to that board and that board. They slide under that one and over top of that one. And then just the same with this one. The outer boards are attached to that one and that one. They slide under this one and on top of that one. So it's all kind of held together by friction. Alright, so then the 2 darker boards, the ones on the bottom, are what's actually going to clamp the little tabletop I'm building, and these 2 uppers is where I'm going to use my little clamps that are kind of short. And I'll show you what happens when you squeeze them together. It is a little rickety. It's because I only use single screws, so it kind of wobbles around, but I just want to see what I could do for free out of my basement. I'm definitely going to go ahead and buy some bigger clamps anyway, just to have, but this will work for this project. There we go. So I'll have something like that, and then I can clamp them together, and it'll hold nice and tight. And then it's really long, but that way I could, if I needed to do a really wide tabletop sometime, I could use it. But like I said, I'm probably just going to go ahead and buy some clamps. It's a lot easier than trying to mess with something like this, but it turned out pretty cool for a little freebie project. Alright, so now that I have that clamp built, I'm going to go ahead and do exactly what I did a while ago. I'll turn these over, add a little bit of glue, squeeze them together, glue, squeeze together, and then I'll go ahead and line them up to one of these boards again, just to make sure they're nice and straight, and then I'll drop my huge clamp on there and clamp it together and tighten it up and let it dry. Alright, so now all I gotta do is just let it dry. Alright, so check it out. I let it dry overnight, and it turned into one nice solid piece. Pretty awesome. Alright, and also you see this clamp here, it's because I used it to clamp my end cap pieces when they were drying as well. So now everything's ready to go, and just about time to assemble, but there's 2 things I want to do first. Alright, first thing is this top edge right here is just a really sharp edge, and I don't like how it looks compared to all the other boards because everything else is slightly rounded. So I'll just take my sander to that, smooth it out a little bit, and then after that I'm going to take these end cap pieces and just measure them and cut them so that they're, you know, even with the rest of the board, and then it'll be ready for the assembly. Alright, so check that out. Looks pretty cool so far. So now what I'm going to do is the part I kind of made a disclaimer about earlier. I'm going to join it the wrong way, but I'm going to try to do the best way I can doing it the wrong way. Alright, so what I mean is a lot of times on breadboard tables, sometimes you see tutorials, they just screw it right in. It looks awesome, but the problem is that when the seasons change and the humidity in the wood and the moisture and all that changes, these boards are going to want to expand. They might want to twist a little bit, and as you can see, I mean, the grain's running this way on a huge part of the board, and on the ends it's running the other way, so it could twist, contort, whatever, and you don't want it cracking and splitting your wood. But on a little tiny table like this, I think the way I'm about to do it will be fine. So what I'm going to do is on the two middle boards on the centerpiece, okay, on the back side, I'm going to put 2 pocket holes in there. All right, then I'll put in 2 screws. I'm also going to add a little bit of glue, so there'll be glue right between these 2 boards right here in the center. Then on the second to last on both ends, I'll do the same thing. Put in a pocket screw, but I will not use glue, and I will also not completely tighten that pocket screw all the way. That way maybe it'll have a little bit of room to shift around, and it should be a little better than, you know, just gluing the whole thing and popping in 4 or 5 screws and this thing warping. So I think that will be okay for this little table. Then once that's done, I can add the legs, and then I may or may not clear coat. I haven't quite decided on that yet, but let me get it assembled first, and then we'll decide later. Okay, so now while that glue's drying, I'm trying to decide if I want to clear coat or not. So I tested one of the pieces I cut off. You can see a clear coat at the bottom, and I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. See, like on this board here, has the cool different tones of gray, and then it just turns into brown. Just kind of loses its soul, so I'm not feeling it. I like just kind of the raw dog look of the barnwood, so we'll just keep it like it is, and I'll put some legs on it, and then this thing will be finished. All right, and check it out. There it is all finished. Turned out really awesome. I'm really liking that raw finish. That looks really, really cool and rustic. And then, of course, the breadboard style ends is super hot right now, and hopefully the way I built it will hold up okay. And then the copper painted hairpin legs look really nice too, just kind of blend in with it. One thing I'm not super crazy about is those legs are a little tall. I'd call them about 1 inch tall than I wanted. This table's about 19 total, and I usually try to go between 16 to 18, but it does look really good, and I know this thing will sell really quick. So there you go. That's a really simple table built just out of 2x2's.